So, let's talk about Warzone and, of course, the integration with Black Ops 6. We saw the first reveal of actual Warzone as well as Zombies gameplay at Call of Duty Next. Fortunately, I was able to go out to that. But over the last weekend, we've seen the first early access for Black Ops 6, and people have started to get their hands on the actual movement and the updates that eventually will be making its way to these other modes, obviously, as well. The biggest news, though, that came from the event that at least everybody that I know has been talking about is that Verdansk is coming back. A lot of people that when I even posted this said they didn't believe it. You know, we've heard this for years now at this point, but this is the first time that Call of Duty is the one that has actually said this is happening rather than a whole bunch of leaks and people saying that it's coming. So there's at least more credibility to that. It's going to be coming early next year. And they literally told us everything about all the games except for that, letting us find out from chat while we are live for the event, which I thought was pretty interesting. They've done this with a couple of the releases over the years, usually the biggest news. But anyways, obviously myself and all of these creators were flown out to do the coverage for it. I actually got to meet many of the developers. Many of them even knew who I was and said they liked the videos, the content especially. Going in fully authorized. So I tip my cap to you. It's definitely an honor, and I love going to these types of events in general for many of the games that I play. But I do have some good, hopefully very constructive feedback from this. Obviously, I don't think they really cater the game to me in general, as I'll probably talk about a bit over this. But overall, of the years, it really hasn't been my way. Some of the footage that you'll see from this as well, keep in mind that the tech they gave us there was very bad. The stream quality was also very bad. We couldn't use our own peripherals. Even the controller that was on the same hardware providers as what my controller is didn't even work. Combined with this being against some of the sweatiest players ever, I can understand why so many of the comments were like, man, this game looks impossible, because it was pretty much impossible for me. But I promise, in general, I am a pretty solid player. Although I don't play any ranked. I like to go for the seasonal nuke run, usually some casual wins, some custom games with the community. The LTMs I usually absolutely love playing, but I'm definitely not the sweaty, cracked kid. But I'm trying. I've picked up the controller, like I said, which, interestingly enough, aim assist has been nerfed in this new game. At less than 3 meters, aim assist doesn't even work. Interesting coincidence now knowing that the devs do watch my content and that I've been on controller for the last month. Nonetheless, let's get into some of Warzone, and I want to just talk about some of the high-level stuff. There's 10 million videos going through every single bullet point, but I just wanted to share some of my thoughts and get some of your guys' feedback on all of it as well, because I know a lot of you have been very against this game, and a lot of you also very much like it. I feel like this is the most split that I've seen the community, at least mine, in a very long time on the game. And, you know, in the same regard to my content, keep it constructive. I'm not the one who develops the game. I'm just talking about it here, okay? First thing that I think is the biggest win here is that knife running is a thing. You can now have a third slot for your knife that you will always have, a melee weapon in general. It could be the Kodachis, the sledgehammer, whatever you want to run. The thing that I told all the devs that I talked to was that we need some type of inspect animation while moving. Maybe I'm crazy on this. It's something I absolutely loved in Apex Legends, though, when I would flip that knife out. Even when I play Counter-Strike, obviously you're not really sprinting there. You're just moving base speed, but you can kind of keep doing the interactions of the inspect whenever you want to. Is that a big deal? I like it. That's a big quality of life for me. The thing I will say on it, though, is pulling the knife out really didn't feel like a movement speed increase, especially when you had a submachine gun. I don't feel like it's going to be something that's absolutely mandatory that you do, especially because then you're going to have to pull your weapon back out when you do it. And you might be laughing, how is that the biggest thing? Okay, I'll give you one bigger. Omnidirectional movement. I will say the more that I've played with this, both on mouse and key as well on controller, it's actually become less of a fear of mine. It feels very fun to have something new to kind of learn and master. And the fact that the maximum speed that you go is only when you're going forwards, because that's the only way to activate tactical sprint, still keeps things a lot more balanced for me. The way a lot of people were talking about this was that you could move in max speed any direction, but that's not the case. And after my first hour actually being at my setup and practicing it and having some time to really explore it, man, it felt really good. back in Warzone 1, 2, all of them, really, my main frustration with doing any dives was that when you landed, there was such a delay to actually starting to shoot. Even just using that one fact that's already amazing to me, right? I don't necessarily even need to shoot while diving, but having the option to have my character shoot when I pull that trigger at any time, that's a W. There is going to be a reprogramming, like the groove that my brain is in of moving the character. Now, like loosening that up feels like we got to find an entirely new groove for it. When I was looting, I couldn't even just stay on that one piece of gear that I wanted because I just wasn't used to the inputs. But I think after a couple of hours even, that'll be easy enough. Combined with no bags in the game and being able to visibly recognize loot, they made it so that if you go up to a item, you can see it's legendary in the current state of Warzone, but now you're going to be able to see it from far away. The whole gun is going to glow and you'll see where it is, which to me, I think is even better than having it as floating loot. I know a lot of people want that back. I feel like this really served the same purpose for me of being able to recognize what I was looking for while also not having to have it in the way. To me, the thing that Warzone 1 did better was just the loot system. You could just pick stuff up and it was very simple. It wasn't necessarily the fact that the loot was floating. My personal bigger concern with all of this that I haven't really seen reflected from anybody else, even other people that I was talking to didn't seem concerned, was the lootable perks that are in the game. Now, this was something we had back in the Caldera era of Warzone. You could go pick up some perks, but sometimes you would pick it up when it came out of a box. You had no idea what you even had picked up. They did say that there's going to be a menu when you open your bag where you see the ammo and you can see which perks you actually have now. But especially if you're a new player, this needs to be more clear of what those perks even do. Because I went back to the same problem of just having no idea what I even had. And then also, I personally hate that when you die, maybe it's just because I die so much, but when I die, it doesn't drop on the ground. I can't get those perks back. I thought the system that they had in Modern Warfare 3, just isolating to the vest and having one perk tied to that vest, made it so that there was still an upgrade that you can get, but you could also get it back. And it was easy to recognize which of those perks it was. The vests had very specific characteristics to them. This, to me, the fact that there's so many of them as well, you can cap at having 6 of these floor looted perks. It just adds a lot of extra stuff that I feel like we're not going to need and is just going to confuse new players that I don't know. I'm not really excited for that, especially when I die and I can't get it back, or you kill somebody, you can't get it from them, carry it and drop something for somebody. Like we got mostly all the way away from this with the current state of the game where we could just pick something up and carry it to somebody over. Although now there's not even bags, so you don't really have to worry about carrying anything anymore. And I do think that simplification of the game is already going to be tremendous. You're going to focus on actually playing the game rather than learning to loot stuff. This is what I've been doing for the last month as I've been learning controller, is I was just going into Plunder and practicing picking something up, dropping it on the ground, figuring out which button it is to drop full stacks, which button will drop the item when it's not a stackable item. It's like too much work for just playing the game, and so I am happy about that. I don't think you can argue it's as big, although good that it's actually happening. We are getting a new map. It is a Resurgence-only map, though. That is smaller than Rebirth Island. Very cool theme being Nuketown and the place that makes all of the nuke towns. Like, it is definitely a cool map, although a bit gray, brown, whatever. They said they're going to make it pop a little bit more by the time it comes out. And absolutely, this is alpha gameplay. That's what they said it was. It looked like the textures weren't done. Like, now you see, though, why I was saying Delta Force's alpha is done more than most games at full release. Like, the alpha of that game versus the alpha of Warzone there was crazy to see, right? But in general, I'm more of a big map player. I like to have the big maps, which is why I'm excited that Verdansk is going to come back. Personally, though, I would rather see, instead of a lot of even these new features, I would just want to see more content. I want to see more maps come. I want more POI updates. Bring the player count back up. Like, let's go back up to 200 players. That was one of the coolest things when this game came out, is at 150 players. The fact that we went up to 200 was insane, but of course, Warzone 3 brought us down to 100. It brought it up a little bit to 120. The scale for me is cooler than the Resurge nonstop crazy action. But this is also why I say I don't think this game is really designed for me. I'm more so adapting my playstyle and how I play to continue to play the game. I do enjoy, though, adapting my playstyle and learning new things in pretty much any game. This is why I play such a variety of what I do, and the same thing applies even to this. Another one of my big concerns is just the actual meta flow of the game, which might be more of a win for you, right? Back in Warzone 1, this is how the game was. It's going more back to this style where you'd go and buy a loadout to get your first weapon, and then go to the free loadout to get your second weapon, or just buy another one. You need to hit 2 loadouts to get both of your 8 attachment weapons. Overkill is no longer just built in. You actually have to run the wild card perk to get overkill to have 2 weapons. I thought this was a great change in Modern Warfare 3, where you could just bring in whatever 2 weapons you wanted, and then you could even go to the buy station and just go buy another gun. Now, you will still be able to buy a weapon from those stations, but it's going to cost more for your 8 attachment weapon. So at that point, you're probably just better off buying another new loadout. It just adds a whole nother extra step back to the game that, to me, doesn't feel as enjoyable, trying to go for loot all the time and just get your weapons. We'll have to see how this plays. Maybe it'll be easy enough to just take it off of somebody else when you kill them, but obviously the other greed perk is not applicable in this game. But the devs even said that the greed perk, which gives you a 4th perk in multiplayer, is not going to be in Warzone. So your choice is going to be overkill for 2 primary weapons or 3 extra attachments for your primary gun. Maybe it'll be good to have a new meta again, but personally, I've been really enjoying how the current system works on that. Something else that's back, but also different, is emotes. And instead of them being the first-person emotes, which I thought were so well and incredibly done, like you could break a vial while you're going for a trick shot by just hitting one button, like you'd have this default set emote that you can do similar to that weapon inspect, some even allowing you to hip fire shoot while doing it, to a very stationary static third-person emote, which is what we're getting in this game, no longer the first-person ones, which obviously have some disadvantages for the sake of gameplay of what we saw even back in previous Call of Duties, where now you can third-person peek angles, and it's quite fast to do, although there is some delay, and then getting out of the animation takes another second, so it's not perfect, especially because you have to pull a menu up right now to even start that, but it now has like the weapon inspect also behind a menu. Really, this just reminded me how disappointed I was that we lost all our cool emotes that we had back from the first game, but I completely understand why they're doing it, because now you're going to be able to see your operator in third person, making it that much more tempting to go get whatever skin that you want on top of whatever sick-ass emotes they're going to put in the game. I mean, look how many they sell in Fortnite. The sprays are definitely cool, though, and you know, being able to spray your teammate, spray stuff on the wall, whatever. It was never really the main thing that I used, but, you know, I think we're taking steps back in the right direction. I wouldn't be surprised if by the time Warzone 5 comes out, we've got some first-person animations again. Something that I think would be at least a nice olive branch in the middle here in terms of quality of life that we've never gotten from this is to just have it so double XP only goes when you're in-game. I know you can activate them now when you're in-game, which is great, but wouldn't it be even better if we just click the button and while we're in the lobbies and menus, it doesn't take our double XP away when we cannot even earn XP? I've literally been ranting about this for years at this point, and I'm not going to go in much deeper here, but this is just the worst offense to me of them all that is still present, and I'm going to continue to bring that up until we eventually get it. I am at least happy, though, that blueprints are still going to be a thing. Actually, finally, an improvement to this system even, where it's like individual class slots for each weapon. So if slot 1, you change those attachments, it's going to apply to all of your other modes as well, whether it's multiplayer, zombies, resurgence versus regular Warzone. It seems like, at least, they're not taking features away, as well as perk packages are still here. I love the fact that if I die, I could just pick it up. I kill somebody, I can pick up their perks. And I will say, too, going back to the bag for a second, it did make it a much harder choice when I was playing the game of like, do I really want to take this ammo, or should I take the plates? All right, I need to make sure my teammate has the ammo, I have the plates. Like, there became more team coordination there, and I was like, I'm not taking this flare. I'm not bringing these guys back. But I also feel like this is going to force you to play together a little bit more rather than people just running off on their own, being a complete one-man army with absolutely everything they could ever dream of and more. Also very cool, we're going to have a dedicated Warzone camo grind. And while we didn't really get to see the vehicles tested at all in this, I really wish that they would just make some improvements to these, to pretty much all of them. I don't see why they have to be so bad and miserable to drive. I don't know if you guys remember when they added motorcycles in the game and how much potential that had. If you ever played like PUBG motorcycles, how good they can be if you just make them fun and like controllable. I would not count on anything changing there. However, that is something I would love to see improved. Overall, though, I think if you enjoyed where Warzone is at right now, there's going to be significant changes here in the actual gameplay loop, what you're doing, what the metas are. And they also said they're going to be much more aggressive in keeping the meta balanced and having multiple options to use, although we'll see on that one. They've said that before. I'm rooting for them, but you're probably going to enjoy this update and want to play it and enjoy it more. But I think there's plenty for you to be excited about, new things to do that you're going to enjoy. And if you didn't like it from the direction that they went with Warzone 2, you want the slower pace, not being able to heal while sprinting, can't cancel your reloads, you know, they're completely gone from that, man. The casual DMZ style, just kill some AI, chill. That is not the way of Warzone. They're clearly making a commitment here. Now, if you do still want some of that casual aspect, though, they are delivering it to some of the zombie players' extreme dismay. Might I say it that. Zombies has a new map called Liberty Falls. This is the one that you guys saw us play at the event. You don't even have to turn the power on for the map. You spawn in with a weapon. You can have your fully kitted weapon. You don't need to buy it off the wall. Round one, you're already ready to go. There's no dark, gloomy, close, claustrophobic, insane feelings out of it if you've seen any of the older zombies and how those play. The entire setting is very different, but they did all of this very much on purpose. This is, even from their own words, the easy map. This is more for the new players. By having those big open spaces, you can continue to run away from the zombies pretty much forever, right? Now, when there are massive hordes of them, eventually you will die off of this, but clearly this is the absolute easy entry point, and I think this is probably going to be what a lot of people go in to just farm weapons on. You don't really have to think about much, and you can just enjoy killing a bunch of zombies. There's even health bars on the zombies, so you know where you're at with that. It's much more like some of the later zombies versions that they've even had, but there is customization of the HUD, which I think is at least a nice thing for people who do want to have the more hardcore experience. And I saw people even saying, well, you could always just drop your weapon on the ground or just spawn in with a pistol with only one attachment and get that experience that way. But if you're a gamer, you are going to take the path of least resistance here, right? We're gonna use whatever the most powerful thing is to level up our weapons and to do whatever we can. We're not going to play at a disadvantage to what other people are doing. Now, maybe you will for a hardcore run or whatever, but let's be real. We're going to use whatever the best thing is. And I think that's the element that ruins it for a lot of people, because they want to do the classic, original, high pressure, you know, fighting to just even get one gun in your hand off of a wall buy. And in the first room, the wall buy weapons are ass. So you're just trying to stick it out with that pistol for a little longer to make it to the next room where you know you can get the, you know, it's like you don't have to worry about any of that. Start out with your gun, go hit the box and keep on hitting until you get the ray gun or the wonder weapon that you want. Now you've got your two weapons for the game that you can go murder out on. Realistically, though, to my point earlier, I think most people, at least probably myself, will just be using this to power level up weapons, which also is a bad thing. If this is the best way to actually level a gun because it's so easy, I am going to take the path of least resistance and level up my guns as fast as I possibly can, okay? And if that's boring and it's not a fun experience, this is what happened to me with Battlefield 2042. The best way to level up those weapons, because it was based on kills and not XP, which I thought was ridiculous, was to just go kill a bunch of AI in the training mode. So I'm not even fighting real players. I'm just killing tons of AI. It's so boring, but I just want to get the guns maxed out because leveling up the guns is so boring, and I hate that entire experience as well. To me, there should be a better way to even do the unlock system. Like, how have we not iterated on this at all still? I at least thought the way that Delta Force was taking it, where you can get XP and then apply that XP to any weapon that you want, so you can grind with one gun and then go level up the shotgun that you don't actually want to go in and use until you get more attachments for it, dump all your XP to level that up. Now you got all the attachments, now you can go play with the gun, kit it up. It's a great way to do it. I think the good news for zombies, though, is that the other map, at least from all of the hardcore zombies players that I've spoken with and listened to on this, said that the Terminus map should be the classic experience that's much more known, and apparently the much bigger map with more Easter eggs than have ever even been in zombies. So it might still end up being great, and at least I do want to play through it. I think I might even play this more than the multiplayer, especially until I've done the Easter eggs that are there and seen the entirety of the map, seen the different power-ups and ways to play it. I've also heard that another new map is coming even before before the end of the year. And this is something that historically Call of Duty has done a very good job on, which is just dumping tons of content to the community. Now, sometimes it goes a little bit too much to zombies or a little bit too much to Warzone or to multiplayer or whatever, but at least over the last year, it seemed to be making improvement at the beginning. The first couple quarters are good up until the lead up until the next game, which is kind of where we're at right now. As for the multiplayer, the only thing that I thought was just absolutely busted was the field upgrade of Secret Identity, where you essentially join the enemy team, and it works like Dead Silence, where once you get a kill, it extends the duration of it, where you don't even have an enemy nameplate over your head, which is essentially what everybody in multiplayer relies on. I got some kills I definitely should not have with this, and this is definitely gonna piss some people off who die to this on the other side. The movement, though, it kind of made me think, like, if this game was not Call of Duty, but we got this movement, the kill streaks, and everything that essentially Call of Duty is, I think a lot of people would be more happy than the fact that it's from Call of Duty. You know what I mean? Like, I think a lot of people are just really mad that it's Call of Duty in general, but they probably would be excited about this mechanic if it was from a different game. Because with that said, the more that I've played this, like, the time has been flying by when I've been trying to learn it, and then some of the cool moves that I've been able to make with it have been very fun. And I really appreciate that the perks have been simplified from last year's COD, where you had the vests and the boots and the gloves and all these different combinations and everything. Is way too much for me. This is simpler. I have to do my rant on this a little bit, though, which is the small maps in the game. Okay, I don't mind the 6v6, the 3-lane. I played a lot of those over the years, and I've enjoyed them a lot. I think they still have their place 100%. But some of the even smaller maps, like your shipments, they can be fun at first. But why is it that we like these maps, right? They have a new map called Pit, which is essentially a mining rail car in the middle of the map, and we are inside some caves. There's 3 lanes that are literally tubes, so there's not really anywhere to even look. You're just looking down a circle in either direction. Whoever pushes first, maybe you get them on the slide. It's such a tiny, tiny map, and I feel like they're creating these maps because, well, everybody plays Shipment, right? But why is it that everybody plays Shipment? Because to me, I don't think it's fun. I don't think any of these maps are very fun. The reason that I play it, at least, is because it's the fastest way to level up your guns. Hardcore, Shipment, Das Haus, you name it. I'm just going in slamming shotguns to people's faces, trying to hip fire, whatever, get my kills done, get this challenge done, let's move on to the next thing. Which, to be fair, you know, that's its own level of fun and fulfillment doing it, but I feel like if you gave us 5 times the credit or XP for a 6v6 map, you would probably see more people playing that if that was the fastest way to level them up and do it. But it's not. The fastest way to do it is to go through pain and suffering on this close range. Like, you're gonna be inside of a cave, spawning right in front. I can already feel this 1 month from now. I'm gonna hate this map. I'm already not. You know what I mean? I don't think it's fun. Then again, I'm the dude who's out here playing like the invasion mode, the big team battles, ground war, right? Like, I like the bigger scale of these games in general. I've played a lot of these on the smaller maps for a long time. I've done great on them. I've had 100 kill games, whatever, from a lot of the old CODs. You tell me what you think about it. What I did like, though, was this new VIP mode, which is kind of like Team Deathmatch, where you could still run around and just kind of slay and do whatever, but you also had the target of the VIP to go after, which made it a little bit more rewarding, and then a little bit more exciting when you were the VIP. You knew you had a little extra health. You can get rezzed, so you could still just go out and slay without necessarily having to even play an objective. But what if capturing a domination flag was worth 5 hipfire kills? You know what I mean? Like, you'd probably go do that rather than playing in the pit, trying to shotgun people, or get a tack stance kill with a sniper rifle or something. So those are the 3 different modes, but I guess overall with the actual game, one other thing I wanted to mention was that how is everything getting leaked now? I think this really kills a lot of the hype and, like, leads to way more problems than anything, or probably more than people are even realizing. Like, back in the day when they had a really good launch, even more recently, right? I think it was like 2018 or whatever, Apex Legends came out, and that was a game that came out of absolutely nowhere and was done and caught everybody by surprise. And like, that hype, that magic of everybody just getting to explore and find a game for the first time, and nothing against the dude who pulled it off, right? But there was a guy at COD Next who actually got the world's first nuke. And I feel like being part of that first launch of a game and letting everybody play it at the same time, which obviously I'm there early. I'm the one getting to play the game early in the first place too. I don't necessarily want to lose those privileges, whatever, but I do think that does kill some of the hype for the game of everything just coming out and everybody getting to experience it and see, you know, on social media, get sent a link to it from a friend, whatever, of like this cool thing that's coming out when it's already out. and like you can just go play it and enjoy it. Same thing even with, you know, the you got to get early access to a beta with all of that. I think also kills a lot of the hype in general of what this could be off of it. But even more so, like, this was everywhere. The omnidirectional movement was leaked absolutely everywhere. In fact, there was videos of people hacking in the game before the game was even announced and what the omnidirectional movement even was. And at that point, like, it just kills so much of the momentum and interest of what you could be delivering to people. It's sad. This year as well, they're going to be launching the campaign at the same time as multiplayer and zombies. I heard some people saying, oh, well, they don't want it to come out early because then it might get review bombs and that's all that people can play and they want more content or whatever from it. I don't know, but that makes it a lot harder for people who do want to grind multiplayer and get all their attachments, not fall behind the curve and be able to stomp on everybody. Actually go play that campaign, which kind of worries me. Like, I do want to play it. I'm not sure when I'm going to play it. I'll probably focus a bit on the multiplayer, but I honestly, like I said, I think I'm going to focus on zombies when it comes out. I want to play the maps, maybe figure out some of the Easter eggs, maybe get involved a little bit in that race. Not so much actually doing it first, but seeing what other people are doing, and then everybody just tells me what to do, and we'll all figure it out together. It'll be pretty fun. Obviously, we're going to have to wait until Season 1 for Warzone to come out and get those integrations onto the big map, which is what I'm really the most excited to go play and see. I think the new map and Resurgence will be a fairly fun thing for a couple of days as well, especially as we kind of learn the new meta and how to play the game. But the thing that's more important to me than really any of this is like the fun of it, right? And I think this is the big mistake that PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds made for me, and one of the reasons that, you know, I didn't really continue with the game as much as a lot of people wanted me to, was just the game went down the route of competitive. They went to, you know, esport, ranked, whatever. This is kind of the direction that Call of Duty's gone as well. They got the ranked playlist. They're going to be coming out with the ranked for the big map. It's going to be the big focus and everything. But I'm not really super into that. I like to kind of have fun on the game. For me, whenever I focused about KD and like trying to have the highest KD or whatever, I have had far less enjoyment. Like, it pisses me off so much because I used to play for that. I used to play for crazy gameplays way back in the day. And so that's why I want to see more LTMs, more ways that we can even just let me play those custom rules. Like with the community, we can do our own community games inside of Warzone, but more so like have some LTMs that are fun, that don't take away from the main game, but have extra rewards to actually like have an incentive and reason to play. If not, at least just drop more maps, more content, more POI updates, like things that keep it fresh. Doesn't necessarily need to be complete overhauls to the entire system that take us back so many steps all the time. And I am worried that there's going to be more that, you know, I haven't even realized yet of when these new things come that we're not going to have because of whatever update that does come. So I wanted to talk about it. There it is, Warzone, Black Ops 6. Some of my initial impressions playing it, talking with tons of other creators, friends, as well as people in chat about it as well. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. But that's everything for now. Thanks so much for watching.